India is a large country, a place of exchange of cultures. Each area has a style, a different way of life. Cultures of thought meet at the intersection. And everyone is like that. Find yourself a different religion. Large land densely populated. AI also has its own spiritual needs. And so religions are born. Life in India is like many other places. There were many difficulties in the past. Natural disasters, diseases. And then the cycle of reincarnation drags people into suffering. People are starting to find a way out of their misery. Each one chooses his own path to find peace. And so religions were born. When Christianity teaches how to live. SAO for harmony with everything around. Buddhism. It leads people to escape from suffering. The Holy Spirit protects all living things. Keep your mind pure. Every religion has its own method. To help people find happiness. Many ancient Indian kings. He's also very active in spreading religion, such as King Ashoka, who's been very supportive of Buddhism. You don't just help spread this religion all over India, but also send teachings. Go to other countries. Many other kings also supported other religions, thanks to which the new teachings have land and thrive. So what are the biggest religions that came out of India? The first is definitely Hinduism. Unlike many other religions, there is a clear founder. Like Buddhism or Christianity, Hinduism developed naturally out of culture, beliefs and philosophy of the ancient Indians. Hinduism is not just a religion. It's also the foundation of culture, Indian philosophy and society. Born around 1500 BC, Hinduism evolved from ancient texts. It's a philosophy of the human and divine universe. It is different from other religions that have strict teachings. When the mountain spears, it's like a big tree with branches. Each branch has its own way of worship and conception. This religion has no specific founder. It's the overlap of many ideas over time. Hinduism is special in that there are countless gods. Some people say that this religion has 10 million gods, or to the 33 million gods. But really, if there are great gods, everyone must know. It's the drama that's the creator, creating the universe and everything in it. It's the god Vishnu, the protector. They are always there to protect people, frequently appear in the form of avatars, like Rama and Krishna. It's Shiva the destroyer. Not the one who causes harm, it's the one who brings everything back to peace, and the old life to make way for the new. Who follow the Hindu religion. You can choose to worship any god. They feel the closest. In India you'll see temples and statues of the drama Vishnu, Shiva. There are even smaller gods everywhere. From the house to the street. Hinduism is also the birthplace of caste systems. A system of social classification. Divide people into main groups. The highest is the intellectual class. Priests and religious teachers. It's called Brazil. Then there's the warrior class. People who protect the country. The third class is the business class. And finally, the working class. Do according to the work hand. There's an outside group. Not be classified in the above four classes called David. That is, the people, usually. They're people who do jobs that society considers low. Spy. This class system doesn't just affect our lives, but also the Indian way of thinking. And although it's been reformed today, it still leaves a deep mark in Indian culture and society. It's about religions born in India. Of course I have to mention Buddhism. Buddhism, born around the 6th century BC. The story begins with a prince. It's called Dat Daba, who lives in the palace far away, on the border between Nepal and India. Even today, living in wealth. But you always wonder about the suffering in life. Old age, sickness and death. These questions were your shadow forever. To find the answer, you gave up everything. Left the palace and went into the forest to live as a monk. After years of austerity, and still can't find the truth, he decided to meditate under a Bodhi tree. After 49 days of meditation, he attained enlightenment and became the Buddha. From here Buddhism was born, starting the land journey from India to the rest of the world. Buddhism has since emerged with its central tenet about the Four Noble Truths. It's called the Four Noble Truths, the 8-sector path. 8 ways to lead people out of suffering. To reach a state of nirvana where there is no more reincarnation. Buddhism. It flourished in India in the early days, by King Ashoka, and transliterated as a sex. Strong support in the 3rd century BC. Helpland spread across Asia. India is an ideal place for Buddhism to flourish. Through free thought and respect for personal philosophy, Buddhism is not only wide land, it's also become a very influential ideology, with many cultures in Asia. It's constantly growing. It's finally divided into 2 main branches. Theravada Buddhism, mainly developed in Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia. This branch still retains many of its original teachings, from the time of the Buddha. Mahayana Buddhism thrives in India, Japan, Vietnam, Korean Peninsula. This branch is flexible in doctrine. There are many more bodhisattvas to help guide sentient beings. Each branch has a different approach, but it's all about the goal: help people free from suffering and reach nirvana. Even though Buddhism came from India, but now, the number of Buddhists in India is quite small. Only about 1% of the population. Most Indians today are Hindu. India is still a sacred destination for Buddhists around the world, especially the Buddhist holy sites. It's like the Bodhi ashram where the Buddha was enlightened, or the garden where the Buddha gave his sermon. The third largest religion that started in India was Jainism. Around the same time as Buddhism, the Taoist appeared. It was founded by the mafia. You believe that every life has a soul and is precious, should be protected. The flute has a special emphasis on ahimsa. It's a non-violent principle. It does not harm any creature. And Taoism doesn't just stop at fasting, but also adhere to stricter rules. It's like not wearing clothes, and wear a mask to avoid inhaling small organisms. Jainism has a very well-known principle of life. It does not harm any creature. It is so for the Christians. Killing an insect is also a bad thing. It affects their souls. That's why they will comply. 1 is a strict vegetarian diet that doesn't eat fish, even limit their intake of some vegetables. Easy to kill the creature. 2 is wearing a mask, to avoid accidentally inhaling small organisms. And BA is to scan the road before you go, to not step on any small creature. This philosophy, to make Jainism a friendly religion, with the environment, the greatest in the eyes of Goddess people. All beings have value, and they all have to be protected. If you think Buddhist monks have lived simply, the Jain priests are much more austere. They're willing to give up everything, including their clothes, just wearing a small towel. Many monks even walk barefoot, no shoes. They only eat when someone else brings them. These ascetic monks believe in giving up all possessions, including basic amenities, will help them purify their souls and achieve liberation. And finally, talk about the great religions that came out of India. We have the Chain. Chaism is the latest religion of the religions mentioned. It was born around the 15th century, in the context of growing religious conflict between Hinduism and Islam. Desert Nanak, the founder of Chainsaw, tried to find harmony and remove the hatred between the two religions. It's based on the principle of equal compassion, serving the community without discrimination. And there's a strong community system. It is different from Hinduism. Schoolteacher. It's about absolute equality between people. According to the teachings of this religion, no one is higher or lower than the other. They're all equally valid regardless of gender, social or religious status. So the chaos have a tradition, building free kitchens at the temple, to serve everyone. In the Chain temples, those who come to worship will sit together on the ground, to eat regardless of class. This shows a great sense of solidarity. The birth of chaos, evidence for the spirit of tolerance, and India's ability to integrate. Today the equator is about 25, up to 30 million followers around the world, mainly focused in Bulchat state of India. But there are also many ecclesiastical communities in Canada, American or Australian. They stand out with their signature turban, and the spirit of generosity. They are often actively involved in charitable activities, and protect the community. Thank you for your interest. Follow this story. If it's interesting, you can press the channel subscription button, and notification and sharing. For now, please say goodbye.